game we like to call Believe It or Not. Canty, I'll start with you. Patrick Mahomes will return to the Super Bowl next season. Believe it or not?
I'm going to believe it, Ryan. I mean, he's been in the Super Bowl 3 of the last 4 years, and since he's become the starter, he's hosted the conference championship every single year. So if you're going to get to the Super Bowl, you got to be one of the Final Four. Pat Mahomes has done that every single season. No reason to think that he won't do it in 2023.
Okay, there you go. Just playing the odds there. Jeff, Joe Burrow will win MVP next season. Believe it or not?
I don't believe it because I follow a very clear commandment when it comes to my beliefs in the NFL, and that is every year for the next 10 years, I will vote for Patrick Mahomes as the MVP of that year. It worked out for me this past year, and I believe it will continue to be fruitful. Not saying that Joe Burrow is not fully worthy of that award at some point in his career. I'm just saying preseason-wise, I'm always going with Pat Mahomes.
Nobody else gets an MVP preseason-wise. Just not fair. Mike Tannenbaum, the Bears should trade Justin Fields. Believe it or not?
Believe it. I follow a clear commandment. Take the better player. Bryce Young is the better football player than Justin Fields. So go draft Bryce Young and trade Justin Fields. He's a good player, but he's young, has some inconsistencies, but I'm taking the better football player.
Wow. Straight up the better player. How about that? Let's stop down on this and talk a little bit about Justin Fields and Bryce Young. Canty, what do you think of that? What should Chicago do with that first pick?
Well, I think the Bears should trade down and stockpile picks, but to Mike Tannenbaum's statement, I don't know how you definitively say that Bryce Young is a better player than Justin Fields. We've seen Justin Fields play in the National Football League and be highly productive, and if you look at the leap that he made from year 1 to year 2, he more than doubled his QBR, and then if you narrow down on his individual statistics, they compare quite favorably to what we saw from Jalen Hurts in his second season in the National Football League. So I think you've seen the quarterback have the dominant traits that lend themselves to having success in the National Football League. The biggest challenge for the Bears now is surrounding him with the requisite talent in order to compete at a high level. They got draft capital. They got a lot of cap space. Put pieces around Jalen Hurts to allow his natural talent to be a force multiplier for your organization.
So, Mike, respond to that.
In the last 2 years, Justin Fields has 140 sacks, fumbles, and interceptions. He's only played in 27 games and leads the NFL in those categories. That's not to say that he can't get better, because I believe he will, but his proclivities of turning the ball over is a concern. I've scouted Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young's ceiling is way higher than Justin Fields. My only concern is if someone like Chris Canty tackles Bryce Young, that's a concern. But beyond that, I think he has a chance to be a great player. I think Justin Fields has a chance to be a good player. Those negative plays, though, do concern me. And I think I could get a first-round pick for Justin Fields. So I'm going to take Bryce Young. I'm going to reset the quarterback clock. We just talked about that. That rookie quarterback clock, it's hugely consequential. When we're talking about $50 million or more, and now we can push that out 4 more years, and now we can recap cap space and a draft choice. I think for the totality of the situation, the Bears are better off with Young and trading Fields.
Man, if Chris Canty tackles anybody, I'd be concerned. We'd have to have a trainer right here on staff. Jeff, seriously. Jeff, lay out all the factors at play here. How does this all play out for you?
By the way, first of all, Tannenbaum did he say proclivities? He uses big words and it makes him sound smart. I don't even know what that means. Maybe I didn't even hear it right. But more importantly, I do think that this is a scenario where we will see the Bears do their homework. I think that there is a middle ground. I don't know which quarterback's better, and quite frankly, I don't know that anybody can say it that distinctly right now. But I do think that we are watching an NFL team with a very valuable first overall pick, but has to find exactly what they will get for it before they know whether it's worth using. All the teams recently who have taken the emotion out of a situation have generally been pretty well off. The Chiefs trading Tyreek Hill, that would have seemed crazy before they did it. Just as the Bears trading Justin Fields right now might seem crazy. But teams have to sometimes take the emotion out of it. In this case, I don't know which direction they go, but it is something I think that they will very seriously consider.
Mike, I seem to recall not too long ago you did an analysis of all the quarterbacks who've been drafted in the first round that had success. And there haven't been many of them. So how do you then turn around and say, Bryce Young, though, he's the guy, and get rid of a guy who was 7th in the NFL in rushing last year and didn't do that bad when you think about it, considering the leaky offensive line and the weapons that he didn't have.
Yeah, Ryan, it's a totally fair point. I may use big words, but like a lot of former GMs, I have less hair because this is such a hard decision. And what I would say is Bryce Young has the rare talent and character to be successful. Is there a little bit of a leap of faith? Absolutely. There is on every one of these picks. You know, Patrick Mahomes sat for a year. Like, there's a reason Jalen Hurts went in the second round. Sometimes it's not a perfect fit, but gosh, Ryan, when you do your homework and watch the tape, I just think Bryce Young, again, despite his size, has a chance to be really good because of his accuracy, anticipation, and arm strength. And I wouldn't want to pass up on a guy that I think has a great ceiling the way he does.
I'm looking at Canty's skeptical face, if you like that big word. Canty, what do you think? I'll give you the last word.
No, I just, Bryce Young, and not to disparage him, but he's 5'0", 100 and nothing. And there are big guys that are coming after him every single play. And so I'm a little bit leery when it comes to the durability concerns, and we're seeing that with smaller quarterbacks in stature. We just saw it with Kyler Murray this year. I just worry about the longevity of a player that...
Quarterback Jalen Hurts is extension eligible this offseason. He's got 1 year remaining on his rookie contract. Now, this is interesting. Eagle GM Howie Roseman had this to say about locking up his star quarterback.
We have a good sense of what we need to do here. We have a little bit of time here, too, to kind of figure it out and get away and discuss that. But, at the end of the day, the most important thing is keeping our best players here. And Jalen's certainly one of our best players. So we'll keep all the contract talks internal, but we definitely would like to keep Jalen Hurts here long.
Okay, they want to keep him, and they want to keep him for a long time. Jeff, how might the Eagles' former quarterback impact their negotiations with their current quarterback?
Philly fans are going to just hate when I bring this up. I'm just saying that for the past several years, anytime we're talking about signing a quarterback after their third year, we always use one cautionary tale, and that is Carson Wentz. And that is the precedent that we're talking about right now when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Will Howie Roseman sort of get a little bit nervous about the idea of doing this deal earlier? Now, I know that Jalen Hurts feels like he is ascending in a way perhaps different than Wentz was when he signed that deal. But Wentz, by the way, received the most guaranteed money in NFL history at that point when he signed that deal. So I know revisionist history might suggest, well, they made a mistake by doing that with Wentz, but at the time they didn't feel like they had. Look, two different quarterbacks, two different situations. It will be curious to me, though, if Howie Roseman takes that situation and applies it in any manner to this one, because it could change the direction of this contract.
Yeah, remember around that time, Philly fan that I am, everybody was thinking, hey, maybe Wentz has got an MVP in his future. Same kinds of things they're saying about Jalen Hurts right now. So, Mike, should the Eagles pay Jalen Hurts top of the market quarterback money this offseason?
Absolutely, Ryan. It's only going to get more expensive. We got guys like Joe Burrow. We've already discussed Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, amongst many others. So if I'm Philly, I'm going early. And the other thing is I'm going long. Josh Allen, as Hembo reminded me, signed a 6-year deal. Patrick Mahomes signed a 10-year deal. So I'm going to give Jalen Hurts the average per year, presumably he's looking for, which I would think is about $50 million a year. But if I'm Philly, given Jalen Hurts' character, improvement, and age, I want to go as long as possible.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes, you see that graphic from Hembo right there. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, the only guys playing on contracts longer than 5 years. I imagine, again, Hurts trying to go shorter. So, Canty, though, when you look at what the Ravens have been saying about Lamar Jackson, some of the concern, not saying, but some of the scuttlebutt is style of play has an impact on what they might offer him. Are you concerned at all about Hurts' style of play when you talk about that kind of long-term investment?
No, because Hurts wins a lot. Over the last 2 years, only 2 quarterbacks have more wins than Jalen Hurts. If you look at Lamar Jackson's situation, since he became the starter in week 18 of 2018, week 10 of 2018 with the Baltimore Ravens, he's got the 5th most wins of any quarterback in football. So those guys, although it is an unconventional style of play at the quarterback spot, they do a whole lot of winning. And so if I'm Howie Roseman, the general manager of the Eagles, I want to lock in certainty at the most important position. And Jeff Darlington's point is well taken, but the counter to that is, what's your alternative? If you don't sign Jalen Hurts this offseason, then you're going to have less options next offseason. Another thing to consider when it comes to overall roster construction, there's going to be a whole lot of cash influxed into the National Football League in 2024 when you talk about the tech money from Amazon and from YouTube. So the salary cap is only going to go up. Salary cap is going to explode. Over the last 2 years, we've seen the salary cap go up 22%. So I think this is a situation where we have to assess where the quarterback market is now, but also where it's going. The deals that we're seeing right now for quarterbacks at the top of the market are going to be obsolete once we get to the offseason in 2024.
Jeff, go ahead.
I fully agree, by the way, with that. When I bring up Wentz, it's more of a cautionary tale.